Yes, my name is Louise, and I'm the co-founder of an organization called Young Art. Art attack. Well, this is the topic. And 2.5 years ago, we started challenging the art world. Something very rooted in its structure and its tradition. First of all, who am I? I'm an art director, and before I thought I would challenge, take over the art world, I used to work in advertising and communication. Thanks to being able to work at some of the world's greatest advertising agencies, I gained a huge passion for communication, especially digital media. And I find it very amazing how the users today of social media especially are the ones that decide what we share and talk about in the world. The most important part of my life is my family, being married to the most wonderful man and hanging out with our 1-year-old daughter somewhere here as well. Please say hi to her later. So what about Young Art? Well, I think it's almost exactly 4 years ago. Antonia is in the corner here and also sitting over there. She was redecorating her home and she wanted something new for her walls. And I remember her saying that, where can I buy art that isn't mass produced at IKEA or a poster from a museum shop? And there has to be lots of young artists out there with lots of art that we could buy and could suit our economy, Antonia being a student at that time. And we kept on talking about that, and we realized that there isn't really any place. Antonia and I are both very into culture. We enjoy music, and we like going to museums and galleries. And we kept on, as we talked about this, where to find art. We also realized that we both felt not really welcome into the art world, and that being the really inner circle of the art world. So since then, we've pinpointed down a few facts or truths about the art world. And note that obviously these are from our perspective. There are exceptions. The first fact is that it's expensive. I'm sure all of you have been taken aback by an enormous amount of money that people spend on art. We see it occasionally in the auction houses, but definitely at galleries and the price tags hanging from the walls. Second truth, it's pretentious. I've experienced it tons of times. I come into a gallery and there's someone behind a counter or a desk and slightly just glancing up at me, and I can feel their eyes going from head to toe, and even hearing them thinking, well, judging from what you look like, you definitely know nothing about what's hanging on these walls, and you most certainly won't be able to buy anything of it. So I won't even bother to say hi or welcome you in. So I walk around, it's quite sterile, it's white, walls are white, and glance at the art and then quickly leave. Third truth, it's inaccessible. And inaccessible meaning that in the very inner circle of the art world, it's just for an elite. You should either have a lot of money, you should be being brought up in the art world, or in one way or another have a lot of knowledge of it. And you should know who's the next star and who's not. So this is a pretty harsh world, right? And with these facts, we really started to just feel for our friends that are emerging artists and have chosen this world, and who would ever consider to be a part of it. So the next step was sort of, okay, where are these artists and how can we find them? So we started talking with our friends who were in art school and at the academies. So we also pinpointed down pinpointed down the reality for young artists. And again, these are from our perspective, and there are definitely exceptions. If you don't have a higher degree, and that being one of the 5 academies in Sweden, you're not, according to the art elite, a real artist. if you haven't exhibited any of your art, you're not really considered to be an artist. And if you're not represented by a gallerist, you're not considered to be a real artist. Approximately 1 or 2 students from each class that are graduated at the academies each year are handpicked from one of the galleries, the top-notch galleries. And this meaning that the rest of the class, even though they have at least 5 years of experience, they don't really have a value. That experience and that their time at school doesn't have any value whatsoever. So what Antonia and I realized that it's definitely a gap here in the art world, and we felt that we got an urge to fill that gap. So after a few more months of planning and discussing, we founded a company called Young Art. And Young Art, we establish and market young artists through exhibitions and collaborations and branding. And we do it with the philosophy that art should be fun, accessible, and it shouldn't cost a fortune. Not costing a fortune doesn't mean that the artist shouldn't be paid. On the contrary, it means that there's definitely art for all types of wallets. So now you might be thinking, who is crazy enough to take on such a terrible place as the art world, as I just painted up here? Well, of course, both of us feel a lot for these young talents, and we definitely believe that they truly are talented and can become real stars in the future. But also because I quite early on saw a connection from the advertising world. We all look at brands around us, and we know that there's most definitely have been an advertising agency or a PR firm behind the story of that brand. And if I'll tell you shortly about how an advertising agency works, what an advertising agency would do is that they early on would figure out a message to tell the audience. And that becomes a story, and the more the advertising tells you about the story, the better relationship you get to the brand. And the better relationship to the brand, the more likely it is that you will buy it. And it's the same with art. The advertising world can be straightly applied onto the art world. Communicating art is all about telling stories. Art really does tell a story. From the beginning, it starts with the artist at their studio or at school. An idea comes up, and then there's a process behind that idea. It becomes an art piece. The art is installed or hanged on the wall of the gallery, and the gallerist will tell you that story. And eventually, hopefully, that art piece will hang on your wall at home. And then you will tell the story to the people coming to your home. It says a lot about me if I have an iPhone or if I have a Samsung. And the same works with art. It does say a lot about you, and the better the relationship is, the better you will tell that story and pass on the story about that artist. Another very important aspect that I brought from advertising and in communication is packaging. Packaging is key in any type of brand, but we don't really see it in the art world. We like to think about it as we want to take care of the artist, and not taking care of the sense of being a mother or a friend, even though we tend to be that sometimes as well. But it's about packaging the smallest thing, from how should I present myself as an artist, and how should I show my work. And then the second part is taking care of the viewer. An advertising firm, they quickly figure out who is the target group of a brand. Because if you know the target group, it's a lot easier to figure out in what media and what channel that we should address that target group. Same works for us. If we know where our viewer is, and if we know what type of questions they have, it's a lot easier for us to tell that story of the artist. this part is really important because this really empowers artists to early on build a value for themselves and their art, starting out already during their education and early on in their career. So what does it all boil down to? Well, I think if I want to mention one thing that is connected between advertising and art, it's relationships. We always strive to have the best relationship between the artist and ourselves and even the viewers. And the viewers are not only the ones coming into an exhibition and seeing the exhibition, it's the ones that won't be able to make it and who also will see it online or in other media such as on the internet or as something packaged. And we have been able to make art accessible. It's only been 2.5 years, so we're just getting started. But there definitely is a way to challenge a very, very hard structure such as the art world. You need a little bit of gut feeling, and it doesn't harm you to be a little bit naive as well. And for myself personally, I think it's extremely inspiring to be able to work with my own passion for building brands, and now making reality of my own dream to build my own brand. And before I end, I want to show you an example of how we tell a story about two very talented artists and their exhibition that we showed at our gallery earlier this year.
I like the combination of cute and grotesque and a little bit disturbing characters.
It's an easy way to get a feeling into something when you do a character, because it immediately hits you with a feeling, and it's something that you can use when you draw. A lot of the inspiration is for me is in comic books and pop culture. Listen to a lot of music which influenced me. My name is Joachim, and yeah, I think we both started with the illustration, and then together we moved more and more towards art. Still really influenced by the illustration scene. Räknas elefanter och regnbågar. It's easy to make a sad character, and you feel the mood in the drawing much easier than shapes and environments. It's more direct.
My name is Hanna. I was in a design school where I did mostly illustration and graphics, but then I moved more into making more art and doing my own worlds and focusing more on that.
We have a pretty good scene collection back at home with hundreds of scenes that we exhibit them this spring in our old apartment. So together with some friends that exhibited in the apartment, so they could come to the apartment and look through all our scenes and stuff.
When I get bored of my characters, I always try to make an environment or to put them in a context more than just a character. But it's a good start to make something. We want the title to be like quite vague maybe, because we didn't really know what we've been doing. But
yeah, we just picked some elements from the work to name the show, to give the viewer a nice feeling. Take care of the viewer.
Thank you very much.